Canada will be a police state by Christmas if Parliament passes bills C-2, C-8, and C-9 in their current form. C-2 is the Strong Borders Act. It should be called the Strong Surveillance Act. It empowers Canada Post to open letter mail without a warrant. It criminalizes the use of cash in amounts greater than 10,000. And it empowers a vast army of government officials, not just police, to conduct warrantless searches of the computers and cell phones of Canadians. It is a massive invasion of privacy. It's extremely dangerous. We then have Bill C-9, which is the Combating Hate Act, and this legislation is going to result in many more Canadians getting prosecuted, not over something that they've done, but on the basis of something that they have said or written. Bill C-9, the Combating Hate Act, gets rid of an existing requirement that hate speech prosecutions need to be reviewed by the Attorney General, and it also gives judges authority to impose much longer sentences, jail sentences on people if the judge feels that hate was part of the motivation in the commission of the crime. Bill C-9 still does a terrible job of defining the emotion of hate, and so there's lots of discretion left in subjective feelings of police officers, Crown prosecutors, and judges. So that's a serious problem. There have been warnings that the Online Harms Act, which prior to the last election was known as Bill C-63, might be reintroduced. If the Online Harms Act is brought back and passed into law, you're going to see the Canadian Human Rights Commission with massive new powers to prosecute Canadians over offensive non-criminal speech with penalties up to $50,000. You're going to see a Digital Safety Commission with a vast army of bureaucrats to enforce federal regulations that are passed in respect of the internet and internet contents. And you're going to see Canadians punished preemptively because their neighbor fears that they might commit a hate speech crime in future. The Online Harms Act would authorize judges to place Canadians under house arrest and wear an ankle bracelet in respect to curfew, etc. People who have not been charged with any offense or convicted of any offense. So preemptive punishment is actually part of the Online Harms Act. Now, last but not least, currently before the House of Commons, we have Bill C-8, the Cybersecurity Act. This gives federal cabinet ministers the power to kick individual Canadians off the internet. The Cybersecurity Act also allows the government to acquire subscriber information and to designate any company as a designated operator, impose all kinds of rules on that company. It gives the cabinet ministers powers to demand information, which must be turned over, and provides for, expressly says there's no compensation to any Canadian individual or company that suffers losses because of a minister's order under this Cybersecurity Act. Administrative penalties for not complying with the minister's order up to $50,000 per day for individual Canadians, and up to 15 million for Canadian companies not complying with the minister's order. Now, theoretically, a Canadian who is kicked off the internet can go to court, but for that you need $100,000 in a bank account to be used for litigation that's going to drag on for years. So practically speaking, there's not a real remedy available if under Bill C-8, if a federal cabinet minister kicks a Canadian off the internet. Politicians never take away our rights and freedoms without offering a nice sounding pretext. And so we've got the federal government saying that we need Bill C-8, Cybersecurity Act, to protect us from hackers, ransomware fraudsters, malicious cyber actors, and hostile state actors. Now, and of course, the sacrosanct national security and public safety, which of course every Canadian supports. The fact is that hacking into someone else's computer system, causing damage, are already criminal offenses. The powers are there already for the government simply to enforce the criminal code. Giving the federal government, giving federal cabinet ministers power to kick Canadians off the internet is not necessary for protecting public safety or defending our national security. Our freedoms are fragile. It's imperative that every Canadian contact their member of parliament, whether your MP is Liberal, Conservative, NDP, Bloc, or Green, does not matter. Contact your member of parliament and tell him or her to vote against bills C-2, C-8, C-9, and tell them to not bring back the Online Harms Act. I'm John Carpay. Thanks for listening.